we had a bit of a delayed start this morning because Hezzy decided that she needed an oil change.
Immediately.
Yes.
Like she does.
Yeah, like I need it now, I need it now, I need it now. So we went to an oil change place and yep, no problem at all. However, what we needed to get the oil and the oil filter. And there lies the problem. They don't stock the oil filter anywhere in the US. So after a couple of conversations with my dad, who has offered, I think he offered, anyway, coerced my dad into doing the research, and hopefully he'll be shipping an oil filter over to us shortly. So yeah, that took about 2 hours, 3 hours. Well, never mind. So yeah, back on with our tour. And in other news, our oil filter problem is being solved. Maybe not as quickly as we'd hoped, due to a number of issues. Obviously the person doing the work, my dad, isn't an issue at all. He's the one who's solving all the problems, but is finding it very difficult to use the UPS website to be able to send it to us, because we don't have an address and we're not US citizens, and it's all getting quite complicated. But in theory, the oil filter, which I think costs about £10, I think it's costing about £150 to get it shipped to us, will arrive probably the day after we leave the Keys. So if anyone is planning a trip like this, I would highly suggest that you have with you on your vehicle at least 2 filters, oil filters and air filters, and if you need anything shipping over from any country, then you're best to just sit and wait until it arrives. It's a little bit frustrating, but that's what makes this trip fun.
So when the message first came up to say you need an oil change, we thought okay, fine, and that's when we started the whole process of trying to get an oil change and discovering we couldn't get the filter. But then today a second message came up with a yellow warning saying change oil, which was a little bit more urgent.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it had a second one made us wonder if there was perhaps going to be a third one in red. So we thought, alright, it'll be fine. If we change the oil, then all those messages will go away. But then Jez did a bit of Googling.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, and it turns out it wasn't based on quality of oil, it was based on mileage or engine time. So changing the oil would resolve any issues with the engine, but wouldn't take the message away and may end up sending us into limp mode.
And after a bit more Googling, we found out, and you might have to go to a Fiat dealer to get them to fix the error message, which is a bit of an issue when we don't have any Fiat dealers. Oh no, actually that's not true. I did Google and discovered there are Fiat dealers, but they only do Fiat 500s, which is a bit smaller than Hezzy.
It's a bit different. Yeah.
So we set Jezzy's dad on it again.
Yes, yeah. So he came at trumps, gave us a couple of options for resetting the message. Yeah. Basically, you've got to do a hokey with the pedals, cross your fingers, open the door 3 times, and it works. And it has worked. Yeah. Well, half solved the problem by just switching off the message.
Yes.
It'll be all right. Yeah, we don't have to ship Hezzy back to the UK just to reset a service light.
But there was a point today when it was all feeling a little bit too much. And I did have visions of us having to somehow cancel the whole trip just because of a stupid oil filter. Warning, no, not even the oil filter. A stupid warning light, because they've over-engineered these systems. So over-engineered that Hezzy does not even have a dipstick.
No dipstick. But we're okay.
We are okay.
Don't worry.
No.
And Hezzy's okay as well, which I'm sure you're more worried about Hezzy than you are us.
Yeah.
Finally, the grey box has arrived from England. Can't believe it's taken this long, and how much work, how much effort it has taken. But it's definitely worth it. It means that now we can get Hezzy an oil change. So she's been moaning about it for so long. And we have an oil filter. Can't believe how long this has taken, how much stress this has caused. Sleepless nights for my dad, for me, for Sarah. Charlie Bateman had to get involved in Rutland because UPS couldn't send it to us directly for some reason. Yeah, just a massive relief. Thank you everybody involved.
And now we just need to figure out how to get it fitted. Well, we're sitting here waiting, hoping we'll be able to get Hezzy an oil change. Or they might say no, because our VIN number doesn't work in the US. Let's see. Fingers crossed.
Well, finally, after what seems to be ages of stress and all the rest of it, we're finally getting Hezzy some new oil. Thank you to Jiffy Lube outside of Miami. Feels like it's probably the most expensive oil change in history, but we are still getting the oil changed anyway. Here we go.
Hezzy's had an oil change. All good to go, so we thought, and then we've switched it back on again, and now she thinks she's got no oil. So we're going to have to sit in the forecourt of the oil change place and let it run for a bit.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Who needs oil?
We did watch him putting oil in, so we know there is some in there. Saga continues. I found a national park that Hezzy likes. Yay! She likes the Everglades because after driving an hour and a half where she decided she didn't have any oil, we turned her off back on again in the national park, and this time the warning light went off. Yay!
She likes the Everglades.
She likes the Everglades. She clearly likes the gators and didn't want to be taken away again, so she's decided to play ball. Now, weirdly, it does say we only have about a quarter of how much oil we should have, but we're going to assume it's just working its way through the system very, very slowly, drip by drip by drip. So we are coming to the conclusion there's a dodgy oil sensor. But finally, at least for now, all is good with the world.
Yes, and Hezzy.
And Hezzy.
As we said already, Hezzy doesn't have a dipstick. So the only way we can manage her oil level is by topping her oil up a little bit at a time. However, it seems to take about 200 miles to register any oil changes, but she is over halfway, which is good, and seems to be staying above halfway as well, which is even better. So all is good in Hezzy's world, finally.